Welcome to the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by Sam Swope, Louisville's only live TV sports talk show. We're here every Sunday at 11 o'clock. Our number, 964-2121, the Goomer & Company Buzz line. Give us a call. We want to hear from you. I'm Greg Brom. Joined this week, he's back, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Mason. Thank you. Jeff, thank you for coming out after UK's curfew. After their new curfew tonight. I'm glad you could stay up past it.
Boys will be boys, Greg. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the little 2:30 activity. I never had a problem with it.
Absolutely. Nothing good happens at that time, though.
Everything good. Everything
you're
good,
evidence of that.
Everything good happens at 2:30.
All right, let's start off. We're going to talk about Louisville and Kentucky basketball and football. But I do want to get reaction to the Penn State situation this week that really blew up over the course of the week. And it really is a tragic situation. They had their game yesterday against Nebraska, a pretty emotional event. The teams came out arm to arm. Penn State did. They came and both Nebraska and Penn State came together before the game. And it seemed like a really intense, emotional afternoon in Happy Valley. Joe Pa fired. Give me just your general thoughts on the situation.
Well, there's nothing that I've ever seen in college athletics that meets the sadness and the severity of everything that occurred from the top level down to within Penn State. I've never heard of anything. I know there was a shooting in Baylor and a player's death, and obviously that is horrific. But in dealing with child molestation and the sickening, accounts of what took place at Penn State, and in my opinion, the subsequent cover-up and it's horrible. It's as bad as it gets.
It is. It's really the details are disgusting, really, and it's a situation where there was an evil person involved in that who was committing these crimes against children. I want to just play devil's advocate briefly, though, because as people look at Joe Paterno, and even the graduate assistant that saw what happened in the shower, reported it to Paterno, but stayed silent for the last 10 years and is on the staff. There is a different culture, right or wrong, in college athletic programs. It's kind of like the military. I mean, it's changing over the course of the last 5 years. I think the norms of everyday workplace have kind of drifted into college athletics more and more, where the things you have to act in the college athletic department like you do in a regular workplace, regular society. Before that, though, you didn't have to. It was more like the military. And I have some empathy for Joe Paterno in the fact he was 75 years old when it was reported to him. He might not even know what it was, the severity of it. It was before the Catholic Church scandals that really brought it to the forefront. Do you see any argument that Joe Pa, he reported it to his superiors? I mean, was his reaction the lowest reaction that's humanly possible? I think he's up a bar, a notch or two from that.
Well, I think he did as little as possible in that reaction to what could have been done. Look, at the end of the day, you have allegations, and not even allegations. There were a lot of different things going on at Penn State back in, that period of time. I mean, this was something that the DA had looked to prosecute, was obtaining information. They had reports of activity with this Sandusky. Joe Paterno, look, you're talking about a man who runs Penn State. I mean, by all accounts, he's the most powerful man in Pennsylvania. So if you're using that frame of reference, he's 75, and can't tell right from wrong and where to take this, if he hears those allegations against this individual and continues to allow him to have access to the university, to the special education program that they had put together, and not intervene to a greater extent than what he did, I think he is highly accountable. Yeah. And I think he's, look, at the end of the day, Joe Paterno looks to be a narcissist who's concerned about one thing, Joe Paterno. He's a crusty old man that couldn't make a decision beyond, football being the all-supreme power and knowing what's right from wrong and doing what would be right, and that's moving that man out of there, if nothing else, getting him into jail. And that's my opinion. Yeah. I know you kind of disagree to the extent that I understand, but the don't ask, don't tell policy in the Army exists today. It doesn't exist in college athletics.
Well, I think it is an example of absolute power that corrupts absolutely, is the phrase. And in college athletics, the coach has too much power. I mean, they're in a bubble. They're in a bubble where they're the king of the world. So there was a cover-up, and there was too much. He assisted that cover-up way too much. I actually have a little empathy even for the guy who saw it. A GA in college athletics is literally an indentured servant. I mean, they're not an entry-level employee even in that world. I mean, they're not to speak almost unless spoken to. And here, this guy did report it. I mean, I don't give him zero. I mean, he at least did something, but he stayed quiet for many, many years. But that guy, if nobody believes him, he's gone and never coaches again. A job at Penn State is gone. I think he took a little chance even reporting it to Paterno.
But what keeps him from walking in? And I know you hear the argument of people who say, well, there's crimes committed every day where someone watches somebody else get shot or somebody watches somebody get killed or something of that nature. But this is different. This is a 10-year-old child, 10-year-old person in a shower. What would it have taken for that individual just to go up there and cause such a commotion between the two to disrupt what was taking place and then get his butt out of there and go call daddy?
I think this situation will make people more proactive when they do see something. I think that the publicity that this has gotten will cause that to happen. I just want to play devil's advocate just a little bit on maybe.
I mean, you'd have to be a devil to pull on that point. I just don't see it. I see it as black and white here. I think back to what would you do in situations? I mean, you always want to.
It's easy to say it sometimes, I think, but to actually do it is a little bit different. But if you have a reaction, I want to move on a little bit.
Well, let me say one other thing. It's not like this McCreary was a small man. I mean, he was a college quarterback. He obviously had, he had some relationship with Joe Paterno where I think his validity or going to Joe, the concern is that he had some credibility with him. So, if he came to him and said, look, I just saw this guy doing this, this, and this, unless Joe Paterno is, again, he's 75 years old, as you said, but, that speaks to his, to his integrity, I think.
Well, I think he definitely had to be fired. He couldn't be allowed to coach another game, and more definitely should have been done, and they're obviously cover up. More is going to come out. Our number, 964-2121. I want to move on to some of the other things that happened. Today, Louisville basketball played. They win 68-48 over Lamar. My guy, Jared Swopshire, I know everybody thought this guy, a lot of people thought this guy was not going to contribute this year, that they couldn't wait to replace him. And I am one that thinks that Louisville needs every part. They need the Buckles back. They need Van Treese. They need Mara, who got hurt. That would be a blow to lose Mara. I think they're a team that is the sum of the parts. Swopshire has had 2 really good games right off the bat this season. So, Louisville, do they look great yet? No, but they're a team that the parts matter.
Well, I think they need more than Swopshire and Buckles. I think they probably need somebody like Gilchrist and Davis and Teague. They look good. I mean, they don't look bad. They look good. They look like they're coming together early. I think Siva is a quality, point guard, probably one of the top 5, top 6 in the country. So I think they've got, they're going to be a little bit better maybe than I'd given them credit for. But at the end of the day, I think they are going to be an injury away or something occurring where they don't have a lot of backup, and that could be a problem for them.
Well, one thing I like, and I want to know what you like. What do you like about the card so far? What don't you like? What I like is Bohannon. Bohannon is, he's as good as advertised, I think. He's been big on the boards, scored points. I like Bohannon. I don't think I like, I don't know if we've got the same three-point explosiveness maybe that we've had in the past. Knowles hit a lot of great shots, but I don't know. What do you like so far from the Cards?
Well, I would say Bohannon's awfully strong. He looks like a player. He looks like he can bang. He can take you off the dribble. He's got a nice jumper. He can go inside, out. I like his game. I like Dang in the center. He looks versatile. He looks strong. But again, the backup there, if he does come up with foul trouble, if he does have some problems, that's going to be critical. And even the backup point guard position. I mean, Siva's not going to be able to carry 40 minutes a game. And the way it looks right now, Bullet, and I cannot stand that nickname, but, he doesn't look like he's capable to carry any minutes.
I don't think he's ever looked faster.
I don't understand where...
Kevin Ware, though, we're getting pieces back. We're going to get some pieces back. All right, our number, 964-2121. Give us a call. We'll be back in a moment. The Sunday Sports Buzz presented by Sam Swope.